Between the dialogue for the Scream fight in Spider-Man 2 and the Platinum run for Rebirth, is everyone working on PlayStation exclusives okay? So I finally managed to get the Platinum trophy for both of these games. Final Fantasy VII Remake, whole lot of fun. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a whole lot of what the fuck. Without a doubt, this is a game that will truly have you saying,
it's supposed to be a fucking RPG. What role am I playing? The fucking victim?
and it wasn't the entire game, it was like one specific challenge level and a few specific bosses in hard mode. Like, you know how everybody right now is getting slapped up by Grade 8 Vegeta and Sparking Zero? Imagine that, only it's not fun, it's 10 rounds, there's no save points or satisfaction when you beat it, only frustration. I'm definitely seeing why across the board, everywhere I look on the internet, people are saying this was the roughest platinum they ever earned. Bonds of friendship, holy hell. Like, out of that early trio in the game, I'm fully understanding why Zack is the one who's dead. Mans is the peak definition of unlocking a boss character, and they are absolutely useless once you got him in the roster. He was just a hindrance the entire stage. You know what the worst part is about stages like this? Usually after getting kicked around so much, you finally just say F it and go to a YouTube channel to just look for an easy guide to get through it. Thank you, OptiNoob. You are carrying this entire community on your back, and you are not appreciated enough. Go to the YouTube video, they give you a loadout to try, and you think if I put this on my character, I'm good. The problem is that most of these YouTube builds require two specific items that you probably ignored the second you acquired them. Well, now you need those two specifically, and they have the highest EXP requirement in the game. This right here was the Widowmaker for a lot of people. This stage and trying to create the build you need to get through it. This is where I kept running into the most people saying they quit, give up, or just don't feel like it's worth chasing the Platinum Trophy. Mainly because they didn't expect to get folded like this by Final Fantasy of all games. And for the ones who did, like myself, when they tell you it took them over 200 plus hours, this is where it went. A few challenge stages, the grind to get ready for them, and the grind of actually getting through them. By the way, this is the controller I beat the game with, but not the one I beat this level with. That controller saw so much combat on this one stage that by the time I finally conquered it, it developed stick drift. I got it exactly a year ago. It is a 50-50 shot on if that thing makes it back to PlayStation before the warranty expires. And if it don't, any and all assistance with repairs is appreciated. What's even more annoying is that yes, you have to beat both of these levels to earn a trophy, but these two are a part of a much bigger trophy that you have to earn for Johnny. Yeah, Johnny, played by Yuri Lowenthal. Spider-Man is gatekeeping your Platinum Trophy. What I've noticed 2 games in a row is that if you finish these later like I did, the patches put into place change the boss's attack patterns to specifically avoid what most of the guides in the community tell you to do. I first noticed this during the 3 Whisper fight at the end of Remake. I was getting my butt kicked, went to a YouTube video, found a guide, grinded my material for a few days so I could go ahead and match that dude's build and come back and follow his video step by step. I finally come back to the video and there's a brand new comment from him saying, "Apologies everyone, I regret to inform you it's been brought to my attention that this strategy no longer works. The bosses seem to have shifted their attack pattern to avoid the tactics told to you in the video above." Yeah, after grinding for like 4 days, when I tell you I almost yeeted my entire controller out the window, luckily I was able to semi-tweak what he told us to do and still be able to power through it. Also, post many patches, your teammates get damn near more disobedient than Ash's Charizard. Especially in Rebirth, the amount of times I have told these mofos to do an attack, cast a spell, do a synergy ability, do a limit break, and they just don't. Or just random stuff like casting Arcane Ward with Aerith and then having someone use a spell in the ward, and then they only do it once. And like I said, some of the boss fights, not even hard, just very annoying. For example, King Zoo. So this boss has a one-hit KO move it'll do on your entire team unless you hit it in its weak spot. The problem is while it's charging up that attack, it shoots fire and wind from the floor that can interrupt your attack, and by the time you get on the ground and recover fast enough to try and charge up another heavy attack, he's done the thing and your entire crew is now clapped. He also creates a ring of fire that you can't escape, and if you even touch it, you're now floating more than Sora in a match of Smash Brothers. It just juggles you in the air, infinitely draining your HP, and this usually happens to you for one of 2 reasons. 1, inside the ring he is still shooting fire and wind at you, and it will knock you into the barrier, which you are then basically screwed. 2, they pair it with another boss like this one, and it just takes up so much space within the ring you don't really have a lot of room to run around. The dragon in chapter 13, Jesus Christ. Once again, not hard, just annoying. So some of the boss fights in the game will try to give you like a field advantage. For this one, this dragon will light pillars on fire that if you knock them over and drop him on his head, he is automatically stunned. But now, he never burns the ones that are within reach of him. It's always the ones across the map that if you even try to go over there, they've cooled off, or you can hit them and you're just wasting your time because they will never land within his hitbox. So now that field advantage is basically useless, and honestly, it's fine. You don't need it, it's not necessary, you can beat the fight without it. The problem is his second stage. Which again, this boss isn't difficult, you can get to that part pretty quickly. It's the next part that was pissing people off. So he has one attack where he leaves the battlefield and you physically can't touch him when this happens. Then like a toddler, he turns the floor to lava and just nukes your entire team. And even if you walk in with a fire resistant build, everybody still takes damage and pretty much dies instantly. However, the game tells you that if you hit one of his weak spots, he won't be able to do that, and that is no longer true. Hacking that weak spot now triggers the exact attack that crippling him is supposed to prevent. Hard mode in this game basically betrays everything it told you to do in your first playthrough, and that's really where the fun gets sucked out of it. I once again go to YouTube just to find an easy method to get through it. Surprise, surprise, many updates later, the boss I'm fighting no longer follows the attack pattern in the video. So, summoning Phoenix materia and revival earrings all around and just kept swinging away until I got through it. Please understand, the boss after this is Sephiroth, and he gave me less of a headache than this did. Queen's Blood. That's a skip by itself. And it's easy to just say get good until you get to the Shadow Blood Queen, and then this heifer turns into Yugimoto. Millennium Puzzle, Heart of the Cards, Power of Friendship, Possessed Person's Body, and all. And like all playable bosses in gaming history, of course when I try to add her to my deck, she's absolutely no use to me. I've tried experimenting with different builds I've seen on YouTube and Reddit, and she just does not help me at all. So I finished Remake a week before Rebirth came out, and I finished Rebirth this past weekend. And twice in a row, this series just feels like it almost punishes you for not beating it fast enough. So now with whatever this third game is going to be, I think when it drops, I'm just going to sit down and just power through it. Because 2 games in a row now, it's only gotten harder and more unbalanced the longer you wait to complete it. In ways that make me ask, like, did anyone properly playtest this before y'all put it out? All that aside, don't get it twisted. Final Fantasy Remake, still a 9.5 for me. Rebirth gets an 8. The base game itself was good. The story was really good. Cloud kissing Tifa after all these years. I never thought I would see this happen in my lifetime. It's just the last 13% of that platinum trophy that really makes you question, was it even worth it? And out of all the ones I've obtained so far, this was definitely the least satisfying. But for those who did conquer this quest or quit it, please feel free to chime in. I would love to hear other people's experience. Because after browsing the internet, I know it ain't just me. But for now, I'm finally done with this. See y'all at the reunion.